Time now for Front Office Insights, presented by Sage. We welcome in Guardian's President of Baseball Operations, Chris Antonetti. Chris, it's Brian Kenny. Great to have you back on the show.
Great to be with you again, Brian.
Chris, yeah, great seeing you in spring training as well. Got a real feel for your ball club. I want you, we make assessments all the time. How do you size up your division so far, the AL Central?
Well, we think it's going to continue to be a really competitive division. There are a lot of young teams in our division with great talent on their roster that are starting to take that next step in their development. So obviously we've seen the Tigers get off to a great start so far this year. And we think the Royals, we've played them 6 times already, and they're going to be a really competitive team for the balance of the season. And we also think the Twins will rebound and perform well. We saw the White Sox, their starting pitching pitch really well against us. So we think this continues to be a division on the rise.
I know, Chris, when we spoke briefly in spring training, we talked about the rise of baseball ops and how small your department was and how large it is now. There's also been a coaching explosion. You have on your squad a run production coordinator, a VP of hitting, the director of defense. I love that. But besides senior VP of hitting, mental skills coach, we see a bunch here, director of defense strategy and base running. Just explain the rise of the coaching staff and coaching system.
Yeah, I think, Brian, as the game has continued to get more complex and more information that's become available to us, what we're seeking to do is take that information that's available and help our players prepare and perform. And that extends both on the analytic information we get, and whether that's biomechanics or performance data, but there's also additional opportunities for coaching reps and supporting players in their work pregame. And we've tried to take an individualized approach to each of our pitchers and position players on the Major League roster to support them as best we can. And obviously the game is very different today than it was 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, amazing. I guess, have we gotten past there used to be the baseball ops side, and then there was a liaison, maybe a ball player just off the field that understood what they were saying and then could translate for the players. Is there still a lot of that, or have we moved past that?
There's still some of that. I think even in the graphic you showed there was a blur between the front office and what is considered traditional coaches. So I think what we've tried to do is break down those walls as much as we can and really try to think about how do we get the information to the players that they can use that's actionable for them to, again, support their preparation and performance.
Yeah, on your roster, let's talk that for a minute. Big changes in the offseason. You did trade away the right side of your infield, Josh Naylor, Andres Jimenez, one of the top fielders in the sport. What was the overall rationale?
I think, as you know, Brian, we sometimes have to make really difficult decisions to position our roster, not only for success in the short term, but in the long term. And Josh and Andres both made incredible contributions in their time with us, but we felt like it was an opportunity for us to give some guys an opportunity to go out and contribute. And Gabby Arias has done a really good job at second base for us. And we've started to see the emergence of Kyle Manzardo now that he's gotten regular reps to start the season.
You're always transitioning, right? You've got to stay ahead, like a year or two ahead.
That's part of it. Again, we want to do the best we can to be as competitive as we can in both the near term and long term. And at different junctures, we have to balance those considerations a little bit differently.
Your bullpen remains elite. It was fantastic last year, one of the all-time best. What's your view of Emmanuel Clase? Unbelievable last year. Struggled in the playoffs, has struggled so far this year.
Yeah, I think it's just a blip for Emmanuel. His stuff quality remains consistent. He's had a bit of bad luck. His batting average on ball in play is historically high. And I think it really comes down to him just maybe locating pitches a little bit better than he has and some slight modifications to his plan of attack. But I can't think of anyone else we'd rather continue to hand the ball to in the 8th or 9th inning when we have a lead.
And just for the things that we were talking about, where you have all this data, especially with pitching and pitchers, you have all these coaches, you have baseball ops. How do you attack that as if it's a problem? Or do you leave the player alone? Is it physical, or is it something that is a team approach to get after?
It's definitely a team approach, but that's one of the things that remains consistent, Brian, is that we're still dealing with people that have individual psychologies and individual mentalities and need to be coached differently. And so we have an extraordinary group of coaches that really knows our player group exceedingly well and is able to help support them in the unique way that they might need. So what support for Emmanuel might look like could be very different than what support for Cade Smith might look like. But our group has had productive conversations with Emmanuel, and I have no doubt he will find his groove and be a force for us in the back end of the pen moving forward this year.
And people watch the show know Cleveland is 25th in payroll. You remain competitive. You're at 102 million opening day payroll. Dodgers, Mets, Phillies, Yankees, all above 280. So we've heard the commissioner even speak about this. Commissioner has spoken about this a number of times. What's your view of the payroll list? This is the payroll just in your own division. It's a lot more close there, where you see the Twins and the Tigers are at 149, 147. Chris, from your vantage point, what is the biggest challenge? What is your view of the payroll disparity that pops up in baseball?
It certainly presents challenges for us, Brian, but I think what we've tried to do is just move past that and just understand what the system in place is, and then how do we do the best we can with the realities that we have to consistently produce winning teams. And it's very difficult to do. This is a hyper-competitive industry with lots of incredibly talented front offices and coaching staffs throughout the game. So we know we have our work cut out for us to consistently be competitive. But fortunately, over the last decade or so, we found a way to be a competitive team, and that will remain our goal moving forward as long as we can.
Even as
regardless of whatever the system is, it's our job to find a way to compete.
Yeah, it used to, not long ago, the fat cats would make bad decisions. They're making fewer bad decisions, right? You have smarter people operating with the big money now.
That's certainly been the case. There are lots of very smart, incredible front offices really throughout the game and throughout the league, and that's made what has always been a very competitive industry even more competitive.
All right, Chris. Dan O'Dowd is sitting over here. He says hello. I know you worked together way back in the old days. And
please give Dan my best. He's a personal friend and favorite.
Excellent. Chris, thank you so much. Best of luck this season. Always a pleasure speaking with you.